We're here at Tech World having a conversation with Tom Butler, who runs the commercial and enterprise segment. So let's talk broadly about Lenovo. I think Lenovo is a global brand, but obviously being in the United States, I think a lot of people just miss the scale that Lenovo has, right? The number one notebook brand in terms of volume and sales commercially across the world. So just talk about how you think about that in terms of you guys are such a big global player, you're relevant in every market. So how does that responsibility sort of shape your broad portfolio strategy?
Yeah, well, it is a responsibility, but also it's an advantage, a competitive advantage, because we have the depth and scale across the planet. So we are the number one PC vendor in the commercial space. We dominate in the commercial space, which I oversee from a laptop perspective. So that breadth and scale, we talk about in terms, or express it in terms of pocket to the cloud. So we own Moto phones all the way to the data center and everything in between. And so that allows us to have expertise, and especially as we look at this new wave of AI, to drop into our customers and really touch on any element across that continuum.
Yeah, and I think that the point that you made about the global scale and just how much you're involved in broadly with those customers, and that as a differentiator gives you a ton of insights, because you're not just talking to big companies at one particular country. You're seeing the whole world, if you will, at a scale that is pretty rare. And I think that's a good advantage and a good differentiator for you.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of what we do is we're constantly in front of customers, talking to them about their challenges, their issues, and looking for how we can help them accomplish what the next outcomes are driving to from a business perspective. And we travel globally to do that. I mean, I'm in front of global customers every quarter around the globe to catch that feedback and look at our portfolio and design next generation solutions.
Yeah, and I think that perspective leads to sort of this interesting conversation about AI, right? You're probably having more conversations really than any vendor with companies in every country trying to figure out, what do we do with AI? How do we have an ROI? I mean, I think the themes that Lenovo talked about here about just understanding the barrier to entry and really seeing how do you attach these to business cases, right? Nobody's going to commit a new IT budget, right? CIOs aren't going to greenlight some massive number of budget if they can't track that to some ROI. So start there, what are you hearing in terms of where they're at in project development? Where are they at in terms of seeing what AI, and are there optimism? Do they believe, this is going to be transformational for business as well?
Well, and you touch on it, because what the initial wave was, there was concern around security, privacy, but it's shifted to how do I chase quickly to ROI?
Right.
And so we have orchestrated not only from a product perspective, but also our services arm to really help these customers drive to solutions. So we're driving into POCs. We have an AI Fast Start program that we talked heavily about here at Tech World this week, that allows us to come in and partner with customers to pilot and trial to show that fast return, or their fast closure to ROI.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the adoption cycle. I think one of these interesting points is, how much will they just weave in AI processes to existing workflows versus the opportunity to maybe come at it with a fresh perspective, right? I think if you look back at what we really observed right with COVID, was one of the big things was moving faster to digital transformation, which was not just let's just do more of the same and make it digital. It was a complete rethink, right?
Yes.
To meetings, to processes. And I think AI kind of has that same opportunity versus don't just bolt it on to maybe some existing software, but maybe take an opportunity, create new software, create new workflows. And how do you guys see that as you might embrace that and enable those use cases for customers?
No, that's 100% spot on. If you think about the paradigm shifts we've seen in the industry, .com era,
Yeah.
the introduction of the smartphone, the touchscreen smartphone, the COVID era where we had to completely change workflows. And so all of those instances, we had to start new versus trying to bolt on, because the problem is you've got this continuous workflow with our workforce, our customers in these, especially in large corporations, have been doing for years, months and years. And so now it's trying to introduce AI or bolt on AI, to your point, in that workflow is very difficult.
Right.
And it's hard to have a cultural shift. So we're looking at how do we add or change or adopt new workflows. And that's where, again, we're piloting, trialing with a lot of our customers now to introduce these new workflows. And we have a program called AI Innovators that we are working with ISVs, software vendors in market that are focused on AI and new workflows, partnering with them and then bringing those solutions to our customers as examples.
Yeah. No, super interesting. I think this is good. It'll be interesting to see how this rolls out over time. I assume you guys will have more announcements throughout the year, not just at at Tech World at the end of the year. So I think we'll
Yeah.
we'll look forward to seeing those and talk more about those.
100%. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Thank you.